Morning, ladies and gentlemen. After the recent changes, it's time to talk new meta. What are the guns that you should be leveling if you haven't leveled them yet? What are the guns that you should be playing right now? We're going to be doing an SMG comparison, an LMG comparison, and an AR comparison on a TTK basis, and then present you the best builds for each to kind of give you a feeling what you then can mix and match to build your own loadouts that fit perfectly for you. Let's start with the LMGs. When it comes down to the LMGs, there are a couple of choices. Right now, if you look at the time to kill chart, you would yell, the Stoner, the Stoner, the Stoner. The Bruen and the PKM are three options. The Stoner seems to be technically the best. The biggest problem with the Stoner, as with all the core guns, you can't influence the ADS time. So as soon as you slap on some attachments and the ADS time gets lower, you can't do anything about it. Whereas you can actually influence that really nicely with the Modern Warfare guns, and especially the Modern Warfare guns are just way more stable and reliable on distance. So as you see the Stoner here with a really low time to kill, it would be viable up to the 40 meters where it feels really good. But then, due to the bullet velocity problematic and not all the attachments working correctly and the idle sway in the scopes, I would really not use the Stoner in distance, especially because the damage fall is insane. If you look at the Bruen, for example, the Bruen seems really weird with like 700 milliseconds time to kill. But as True Detonator measured recently, there is no damage fall off on that gun. It just goes through and through and through and through. And that's fantastic. The PKM does seem better technically from a damage profile option, but where the PKM has a very nice time to kill, if you ever shot the gun, where the Bruen just goes taka 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 straight away and hits every single bullet. And especially the Bruen can be built very nicely with a 60 round mag, even though it adds some wobbly recoil, but I'll show you a build to handle this. Right now, I would say the Bruen is the number one due to reload time, recoil, bullet velocity, and so on. Whereas the PKM is really good. I would probably play the Stoner over the PKM because the Stoner still has a really great handling, but with a weird idle sway in the scope, it feels like a PKM, just a better to handle PKM with better movement and everything. That being said, the PKM is still fantastic. Let's slap you out a PKM build first. The PKM has still one unique, great opportunity, and that is the snatch grip, which gives you recoil control and aim down side speed. It really whoops the gun out extremely fast and gets you there. Technically, since the PKM has some horizontal bounds left and right, you would want to play the Commando foregrip, but the snatch grip just has way too cool stats to not actually use. Then you're going to be slapping on the extended barrel. You can also use the heavy barrel because the recoil control here is not different and the bullet velocity is also not that much, but the ADS time is tiny better on the heavy barrel. Does not make that much of a difference, so the extended can definitely be used. Most people will slap on a monolithic suppressor. You can definitely go for the compensator, but if we're talking about using this gun now on range, so we want to use this gun on range, the monolithic is definitely the best option because you have the most optimum bullet velocity on it. Then we're going to slap on here, personal preference. You can really go from sniper scope to VLK optic, and yes, the candid hybrid is actually an option too because the candid hybrid has insane good recoil probabilities, making the horizontal bounds even better. You will have to get used to the scope, and with this fourth reticle, the yellow dot in the middle is gone and you just have the cross T-pose as you have with the VLK optic. Then last but not least, what I tend to do, I slap on attack laser for the absolute bonus ADS time, but also as a secret tip, you probably have never tested this out, but the aiming stability stocks, like the Forge Tac Stalker, they do wonders for LMGs to make them way more controllable. Give that a try and see how you like it. It's a wonderful PKM. After the PKM, let's talk Stoner and then follow up with the Bruen. We're going for the Task Force barrel because it's the bullet velocity barrel, agency suppressor for the damage range, and even more bullet velocity. Under grip, the Bruiser seems to be absolutely fantastic. As I said, we figured out some things that the Bruiser actually makes things better, but the difference is not super big. So I did like 4 sprays, 4 sprays, 10 sprays, 10 sprays, and I gotta say that Bruiser grip or field agent grip is just in this case not a statistical thing. It's really personal preference how the gun feels better to choose. I've used both. I've gone back to the field agent, then I was like, man, Bruiser, then I was like field agent. So here in this gun, not like the ARs, it does not feel that much of a difference, so you go down to personal preference. When it comes down to ammunition, I've been recently using the 150 round mag, and yes, the round fast mag and so on, they don't really work correctly, so I just slapped on maximum ammunition. And then I do actually play the vision tech 2 times and not the 3 times, because the 3 times is actually a 4 times plus magnification that makes the rifles feel awful. whereas the 2 times is the 2.6 times, which comes really close to the VLK optic. And with the blue dots, you have an insane field of view. The biggest problem though is when you're shooting the Stoner, the scope in front of your eyes is going to be like... That's when you're shooting the Stoner. Really annoying in any scope. Can definitely mess up your aim, can definitely mess up your shots. Apart from that, fun gun to shoot. But at least the Bruen, the most amazing, probably still LMG on the Warzone. I'm going to put on the 26.8 barrel for the absolute bullet velocity. On the front side, yes, monolithic suppressor is what you kind of want, but if you really can't control the recoil that the 60 round mag adds, because the 60 round mag adds bonus recoil, you will want to have the compensator because it does a super good job for this gun, and the summit barrel adds already insane bullet velocity. As an under barrel, you would want to have the commander foregrip to really squeeze the horizontal recoil, and then as an optic, try out both. The VLK is fine and fantastic, but also again the Canon hybrid just feels fantastic. This really comes down to your personal preference. Again, you want to go for the Canon hybrid, do that. You want to go for the VLK, do that. But I really urge you to try both out and just give it a go. Because yes, bonus magnification, but also yes, bonus squishing of the recoil. Feeling very good. And especially with the compensator that pulls your gun out nicely, you kind of counter the bonus magnification and go better on target. Let's talk SMGs now. There's quite a variety of them to be played and that you could be rampaging with. Yes, the VAL is in here because technically the VAL is an SMG. It's being used as an SMG. It has 30 bullets. It feels like an SMG. So technically the best time to kill gun. The biggest problem with the VAL being only 30 bullets, and on top of that, it doesn't have the hipfire capabilities that other guns have. Technically, the Cold War MP5 is the second best, but the biggest problem with the Cold War MP5 also has a really straight recoil. That's fantastic. But again, the hipfire is not as good as the Modern Warfare MP5, so you really have to be on target. I kind of feel like, no hate on controllers, but the MP5 for Cold War feels like a very good controller gun because you more often aim down sight with the MP5 than let the aim assist do the help for you with you. Therefore, I would argue that MP5 Cold War definitely more controller gun than a mouse and keyboard gun. Still a good gun though, but the Modern Warfare MP5, for example, with the hipfire capabilities with mouse and keyboard, where you can just like, you know, hipfire everything down on any distance, feels better for definitely mouse and keyboard. Then you have the Fennec. Surprisingly, the Fennec being extremely good, but the problem with the Fennec was, again, as for the Mac 10, ultra high fire rate paired with good damage, but you miss your first shot, you get off target, your magazine is suddenly empty and your opponent is alive. You will have noticed that with the Mac 10 and you will have noticed that with the VAL. Both have the same problematic there. The Fennec definitely now has a better range because they got recently a range buff, and with the ZL Saber and other attachments, it will be fantastic. I definitely will have to revisit the Fennec and see how it goes, especially since the Fennec, with the right attachments, can not only be a good shredder on distances, it also has really good hipfire probabilities because the hipfire cluster is kind of tiny. So should not underestimate the hipfire Fennec. Will definitely be running that up on Verdansk soon. Then the Mac 10, obviously, even unnerfed. These are the unnerfed values. Then the Mac 10 with the nerf values, even with the nerf values, still fantastic. Funny story, we'll look later that when we actually change to extremities, and when we change to extremities, how the damage profiles change here. Then you follow up with the AUG. Yes, the AUG is technically a very good time to kill gun. It can have an insane time to kill. Like if we're looking at head here, boom, the AUG is technically the best. So if you're shooting someone in the chest and you would hit a chest headshot with the burst, you would have an insane time to kill. But you technically would have to do that. So the AUG can kill in 2 bursts, but you have to hit, your bullets have to hit the right parts. And that's the problem with a burst. You aim a bit too high, 1 bullet, boom, boom, 2 go away. The difference with the spray, 1 bullet hits, maybe 1 bullet's a bit more left, 1 bullet a bit more right, up, 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 but you can control the spray. Where burst is like, you cannot get a shoot in the tummy to be like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But then again, does that work always? But as you can see, if we're going for headshots, then the VAL, the AUG is actually the best, the AUG. Then you have the Fennec to follow up, and then the VAL. Really cool. And if we swap now to tummy shots, so we're going from chest shots to tummy shots, suddenly the MP5 from Cold War is the best weapon, but the Fennec is still there. And now we're going for legs and arms. Boom. Suddenly the VAL, again, the best. So all these guns have like kind of these mixed damage profiles where you can't say, man, the Mac 10 sucks. If you actually hit arms, you do 0 damage with the Mac 10, as you do with the AUG and the Fennec. But if you hit tummy or chest, well, they're good to go. So in an action situation, close quarter combat, you got to really know where to hit with which gun and where it matters. And that's why the MP5 is such a good gun, because the MP5 is through the board. It just has good damage values. You know, it stays always kind of in the middle of everything. Has like always had this good tummy damage, good extremity damage, good headshot damage. And that's where it is fantastic. Let me show you some builds. We're going to start with the Fennec. Great gun. Again, you can actually build this on hipfire. So you can go for the Merc grip, hipfire bonus. You can go for the 5 milliwatt laser, hipfire bonus. Then obviously 40 round drum mag, gotta slap that on. Yes, no stock, again, hipfire bonus. And yes, kind of you would want to say, oh, let's play the deadfall barrel. But little do you know, the deadfall barrel actually ruins hipfire. So what you can do is you can still play the ZL Saber because it does sound suppression, damage range, and recoil control. Minus aim down side speed, who cares? But it does not ruin the hipfire in any way. So this would be the absolute hipfire Fennec, and trust me, the hipfire spread is tiny on this gun. Absolutely stupid how good that is. But if you don't want to build this on hipfire, hey, that's fine, ladies and gentlemen. You can actually play the deadfall barrel, which gives you damage range, recoil control, bullet velocity, and sound suppression. The most important part, though, is if you play that, 5 milliwatt laser makes no sense. Because why would you play 5 milliwatt laser then on the gun that with the deadfall barrel already makes hipfire worse by 50+%, something yada 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 yada. What we then would aim for is making this gun better to actually fight continuously. So we have the deadfall with the 40 round drum mag. You could definitely put on the stipple grip tape for the sprint to fire speed to run in, jump, shoot. On top of that, we would be going for sleight of hand because you really want to be able to reload it quick. And then last but not least, kind of Merc still good, but again, hipfire So you could also just go for the commando foregrip. Why the commando foregrip? No ADS time penalty, so you're even faster ADS downside again. And then with all these attachments together, you have a really nice, manageable Fennec to run, shoot, quick, destroy people. Then we get the ASVAL. I am playing this currently very simple, commando foregrip. Obviously, the Strelok stock with aiming stability and recoil control. Commando foregrip has also aiming stability. Then I play tech laser and stuff 5 milliwatt because of aiming stability. Why aiming stability? Because the addition of aiming stability kind of goes exponential, and it feels like that the gun really follows one straight path of spray. Last but not least, you could put on a sleight of hand if you really feel like you need it. But if you once managed and felled the ASVAL and you're good to go, then you also have the option to either play a side. You could go for the co-op combat holo side with the blue dot, fantastic, or you could technically add another aiming stability attachment. I've tried this out, the quad aiming stability pretty much. It feels so good. No, you do not need the barrel. It adds damage range and bullet velocity, but you already have enough damage range and bullet velocity. Use it as an SMG, and even if you use it as a sniper support, you already have enough in both regards. Mech 10 hasn't really changed that much. We're going for the rifled barrel, agency suppressor, petrol grip to sprint move speed way faster because the field agent does nothing and the striker does nothing. So it's petrol grip. Then the 53 round drum mag, again, they don't really work correctly, so it doesn't matter which one you more or less take. And then last but not least, you can actually choose if you want to have some hip fire, which is fine, or you would like to have the SAS combat stock for shooting move speed and aim walk move speed to just make you zoom faster over the battlegrounds. For the MP5, I got for you the rifle barrel again, just felt best for me personally. I'm going to be slapping on the agency suppressor. I'm playing the petrol grip on this one too. Felt like the field agent wasn't doing anything. Got the 50 round drum mag on, and then also here the 5 milliwatt laser, just making this an absolute beamer zoomer with a really straight recoil. It's just going up in a line, and it feels so good and fun to play. High recommendation to give this a try. And yes, it also has an SAS combat stock to make you zoom more. So you got to decide, do you want to have the petrol grip with give you sprinting move speed or shooting move speed and aim walking movement speed? In this regard, I felt like the sprinting move speed gave me better statistics than that. I didn't want to put on the Raider stock because that was sprint to fire time, but actually not sprint move speed, where you just sprint faster with this gun out and just zoom over the battleground. When it comes down to the AUG, I actually don't have a very heavily tested build for you. We still have to do the AUG Explain series, so I have not played this gun to the max, and I can only talk from something I've seen from my teammates use. And so far, I would say it's the 54 round drum mag, field agent foregrip, Silex Holo Scout with the blue dot, because that gives you a really clean and nice reticle to shoot from. And then I've been playing the Task Force barrel, much I have, plus the agency silencer. That is definitely not the most optimal build that's perfectly optimized. This is just to give you a feeling for what you could slap on and give it a try for. But the AUG build will definitely land in an AUG Explained series that you can then feel where it's going. And also it's called an AUG and not an AUG. Get over it. We're Europeans, we say it like that. Now, last but not least, let's look at the ARs. As you can see, they're really clustered together. What we're looking here right now would be long-range ARs. So what would you replace the DMR-14 with? So we're not looking at a sniper AR. We're looking at what do you replace the DMR-14 with. Right now, as you can see down here, the FAR would technically be the best. But realistically, you can't use the FAR on distance. Because on distance, it just flies out of your hand. It's because it's a Cold War rifle and the bullet velocity doesn't work on Cold War rifles correctly too. And until all the attachments work, FAR is being chalked. I would actually mark it off. Boom. As a long-range rifle. Then you look at the AMAX. The AMAX is actually fantastic because it had a very good time to kill over all the distances. Yes, some of you will have problems hitting their shots. Don't worry, I have a build for you that will look weird at first, but as soon as you give it more try and testing, you'll be like, man, this is actually fantastic. No problem, I got your back. Followed up by the AMAX is actually the RAM 7, and the RAM 7 is technically the AMAX in the same, but with different body damage profiles. I'll show you this in a second so you actually see how good the RAM 7 is. And the RAM 7 is actually as good as the AMAX, despite it actually showing a lesser time to kill. But again, the RAM 7 bullets are easier to hit than the AMAX bullets, and the build is actually having an insane bullet velocity if you put like the right attachments on to then outgun the AMAX on distance. Funny story, again, as I said, if you go for tummy shots, suddenly the RAM 7 is way better than the AMAX, and the FAR is also, again, still very good. Look at the AMAX, how shit that it actually is, as soon as one single shot of you doesn't hit the chest or the head. Even for headshots, the RAM 7 is better than the AMAX. So the only advantage the AMAX has is if you hit continuous chest shots, every single chest shot. But as soon as you hit a tummy shot or a headshot instead, and the RAM only hits headshots or only hits, the certain shots too, you're getting off your time to kill. Look at this now, extremities, RAM 7, again, better than the AMAX. So the AMAX is a real beast when it comes down to shooting chest and head. But as soon as you get off target, you're actually going to lose against other guns. And that's where the RAM 7 is so fantastic, and I highly recommend you to put RAM 7 in your consideration as guns to be played. Feels so absolutely fantastic. Then we have the Kilo or the Grau, and right now I would actually prefer the Grau over the Kilo, not only because it's better on range, as you can see here. The Grau has a very good I hit every single bullet that the Kilo has too, but the Kilo feels off after the recent nerfs where it kind of got balanced there. So the Grau is very fantastic and very good. I highly recommend you to play it actually over the Kilo right now, and I'm going to present you a very good Grau build with very good recoil stabilities, and you're going to love that one. Let's talk RAM 7 first. That is the one I've used in Twitch Rivals recently. Put on 50 round mag, commando foregrip because of the horizontal bounce of the gun and also the wibble wobble in the scope. Then I'm slapping on the muzzle brake. This seems really weird for you. Why don't you recoil control? And then you have the FSS Ranger, which also has some recoil control on it. Last but not least, you have the choice between the VLK Optic or the Candid Hybrid. Both are fantastic scopes, again, down to personal preference levels for you. Both work great. I've been choosing currently the VLK Optic with the muzzle brake and the commando foregrip. It feels really good. If I would go for the Candid Hybrid, I would potentially swap out the muzzle brake for a compensator because it feels better for me. Before you ask about monolithic suppressor, there's a whole video on monolithic suppressor versus these things on Modern Warfare guns that might give you an insight why I don't play it that much. You have problems hitting your AMAX shots? No worries. I got a solver for you. So what you're going to do is you're going to play the Zodiac barrel. Fantastic. Obviously, maximum bullet velocity, recoil control, damage range, everything. Then you're going to be slapping on a compensator. Compensator just feels so good on the AMAX. VLK Optic or Candid Hybrid again, personal choice. Choose the one you like. Underbarrel wise, commando foregrip for the aiming stability to get the visual recoil out of your scope and make that handleable. And now you'd be like, yeah, let's put on the 45 round. What? No. You have the absolute insane time to kill rifle. Why would you need a 45 round mag? I mean, reload, boom, your reload is ultra fast. No, you're going to slap on a gatekeeper stock. And now you listen to me. You trust this, you try this, and you're going to love this because the gatekeeper stock makes the whole gun with the insane aiming stability feel so good. Last but not least, I wish you to look at my Grau. Definitely put on the 60 round mag. Then, underbarrel wise, you would want to play the Commander foregrip because it just works the best on the Grau. Here, now we would slap on the Archangel barrel. No, you won't slap on the Archangel barrel. Yes, the Archangel barrel is still good on controller, but on mouse and keyboard, the Nexus just has a minimal less recoil, minimal less bullet velocity, but a way better ADS time, half almost. And then you're anyways playing a scope, which is going to be the VLK or the Candid Hybrid in this regard, because it feels that it works way better on the Grau, plus a compensator. And you have the absolute beaming machine Grau. It feels so good. You have a very good bullet velocity, a cracking bullet velocity. You just shoot on any distance with this Grau. I just love this one. I have been revisiting this over and over and over again, and it's just absolutely reliable. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've been enjoying all these gun builds, and yes, you can mix and match them all. You can take any of the SMGs, any of the LMGs, any of the ARs, and just slam them together, and you have very good builds. So I presented you many SMGs, many ARs, many LMGs, and now you have a buttload of loadouts that you can mix and matching and trying out what you would like the best, what you would choose for your new meta. Definitely drop in the comments below what you do think is the new meta. Yes, we have not covered sniping yet, but I did not want to cover sniping for the main reason that a lot of people are uncomfortable with sniping because sniping is a very high skill ceiling, whereas spraying is relatively easy. So spraying is easy if you have the right mouse sense, controller sense, whatever. But yes, sniping is a higher skill ceiling, so I wanted to present you first the beaming options. We'll definitely be going down on snipers, especially as soon as all the attachments work and you can finally play the Cold War snipers. I'm sick of saying this, honestly. Screw you, Raven Software. Get your stupid game running right now and give me all the attachments working. I wish you a fantastic good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for supporting so much. Don't forget Twitch TV Ponyhof from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. every single day. Trying out these guns, definitely running over the Verdansk soon with more Modern Warfare guns again as the nerfs are now through. See you soon, and well, what are you going to play?